morning. Well, at least for me, it's morning, and it's early, but we got work to do, and it's supposed to be like 90 degrees today, so we can get things done early. So what I'm doing today is I'm doing a rear diff conversion, and I went with the Banks Ram Air rear differential cover. I did a lot of research, a lot of digging, and at first, to be honest with you, I thought bigger was better. And if you got time, I highly recommend you go on YouTube and you look at some of Gail Banks' video on this particular rear diff cover. He spent an entire year, I'm saying a whole year. He went out and bought every aftermarket rear diff cover you could think of, including the factory one. And they spent a year testing and tuning, researching, developing, coming up with their own rear diff cover. And I'll be honest with you, after you watch his videos and kind of think about what he's talking about, it's a no-brainer. You think about it, man, we're using these trucks to pull these trailers. Sometimes we're pulling light loads, and sometimes we're pulling heavy loads, maxing out what the truck can handle. So of course, that rear differential is putting in work. It's gonna get hot, it's breaking down fluids, it's wear and tear. So why not go to something that is proven to lower temps, get better fluid flow, better coverage of the fluid on the actual members and parts of the rear end? I mean, it's a no-brainer. So let's do a little unboxing. Let's see what we got. Everything, here it is in all its glory. Look at that. I think it's massive. Got all your fins. I mean, it's just got fins out the wazoo. They're just everywhere. And then when you look in the inside, it's got all these extra fins here. It even actually has the fins to keep the fluid on the actual member of the rear end, keep it well lubricated, as well as the fins to cool. And I mean, these are some deep, really deep fins. I mean, very impressive. Good material, feels sturdy. Now these are the scoops, and these will be on the bottom of the rear end, and it's basically going to pull the air as it goes underneath the rear end right up across, keeping it cooler. So, I mean, my honest opinion, well thought out, well designed, feels hefty, feels sturdy. I'm impressed. So now you got all your bolts, your O-ring, and they even give you Loctite. And something I didn't mention earlier, of course, we're gonna need some new gear lube. And this is what I went with. I went with the Amsoil 7590 severe duty synthetic, 100% synthetic. Now, a little talk about that. First of all, I like the Easy Pack. It's gonna make it super easy to put it in. But I highly recommend doing a little research on Amsoil, because I'll be honest with you, Amsoil is a lot like Banks. Amsoil, they're proud of their stuff, and they're proud to tell you about this stuff too. So there's a lot of research out there about it. So I already personally use Amsoil motor oil, so I figured it was a no-brainer. So that's what we're going to use. So check it out. If you have, I believe it's the 2500. I don't know if they ever put one on a 3500. I know mine doesn't have it, but I have the base model. If you have a sway bar back here, you're gonna need to get the sway bar extensions. You're gonna have to order them from Banks. So if you don't have them and you got a sway bar back here, stop. For real, for real. So what we do now is, there's a couple tools that I didn't mention to you guys. So stay tuned, we'll talk about it. One of them is the aftermarket bolt is a 10 millimeter. The factory bolt is a 1/2 inch. So you're gonna need a 1/2 inch to take the factory rear diff cover off the Ram 3500. Now, Ram made improvements, like the Aisin transmission has a drain plug. The rear diff does not, so it's gonna get dirty. But let's get to work. So there is a little washer that's on here that holds the brake line holder. You're gonna have to pry that off with like a screwdriver, a little flathead screwdriver to work it back off. You're also gonna need a deep 1/2 inch socket to work the 2 bolts off for this bracket. And you want to pull that bracket off and push it up out the way. Good, get our bolts ready, because we're going to put one in the top to hold it down. And I'm actually going to go ahead and put a little thread locker on it so that it's already lubed up. Now they do give you a new clamp. Now that new clamp replaces this one. We're going to take that off, and we're going to go ahead and put that in place. Get her ready. I'm gonna go back and make sure I'm gonna snug stuff up in preparation for the torque wrench. Alright. So I got my torque wrench. We're gonna go back in a cross pattern like when you're changing your tire. We're gonna torque everything down. It's 12 foot-pounds that we're going to do. So let's get to work. We're all bolted up. Drain plug's out. Now we're going to add our lube. The nice thing I like about this is it's a little pouch, so I just flip the nozzle in there, squeeze and fill. So we're all filled up. And I'm gonna tell you what I learned. They say 4, but it's actually more like 4 1/4, maybe 4 1/2. But you can see the little line, we're half full. So that's where they recommend it be. So we all done. I got the diff cover on. I've had a kind of a day to kind of drive around, make sure everything's good. I've rechecked the torque. Everything seems good. And I mean, it almost seems like it rides a little smoother, and maybe it's just my pure imagination, which it very well could be. But we done. I got another upgrade coming whenever the manufacturer gets enough supplies to make it, and when it actually shows up, maybe we'll do another video of the install on that. Let me know how you guys feel about the video, this video right here. If it helps you, let me know. If you find it absolutely boring and uninformative, let me know. Yeah, I'm just trying to test out the waters on different things, because I mean, there's so much more than just pulling the car on and pulling it off. So if it helps you, man, let me know. As always, man, y'all take care. Be safe out there. And God bless.